A couple of weeks back, I played Cuphead and I did not lose. Not even once. Now because I'm so good at the game, I'm gonna teach you noobs how to play Cuphead. So strap up for a ride because Mouse Mode presents How to Play Cuphead.
ये कपड़ का है.
For those of you who don't know who Cuphead is, don't worry, I've got you covered. Cuphead is a young and impressionable boy who likes to finger bang the people of his motherland to harvest their souls for Daddy Devil. He also has a pal called Mugman, who your friend, stepmom, sugar daddy, stupid sister or brother can play as if she likes anal punishment as much as you do. After both of you finish deciding who is going to play as whom by checking who can fit the most anal beads in their back end, you're ready to enjoy this wonderful piece of art.
खेलूं कैसे?
This is the place where you know whether the game is going to be a hard dick or a hard dick but that of an aboriginal black guy for you. Don't worry though, if you cross this particular section before a comforting 5 minutes then you're already better than most game journalists. Give yourself a pat on the hunchback of Notre Dame and continue towards the end of the level with your hopes up higher than a boner that hits a puberty-ridden boy at 6 in the morning.
गाजर की पटाई.
Welcome to your first fight ever and to the easiest boss in the game. Some say if you lose this, you may either be a retard or a vegan and I don't know which one is worse. You start by fingering a potato as he hurls turds at you with a penis-looking pink worm that can be more than easily parried than your dad's belt. After satisfying Sal's sputter, Ollie Bulb sprouts from the ground with his innards hurting him more than he can ever hurt you. Burying him 6 feet back into his own grave will get you face to face with the long, hard carrot that your girl has been cheating on you with, as he is more of a 6-incher than you will ever be. But don't let your insecurities get in the way of your winnings, Maverick, because making Chauncey Chatney regret his actions of throwing magic beans and baby carrots at you is as easy as saying that Epstein didn't kill himself.
नीला गोला.
People say Goopy LeGrand is a slime. I say those people are stupid because Goopy is clearly what he showed me. A blue ball. He may initially give you a hard time, but don't worry. Once you realize that you have to stay right in front of him before he can teabag you, you're good to go. Soon after you tickle him enough, he will grow in size just like another organ of the human body that is contained in the same area where the balls are. This is no different than the previous stage, the only difference being that Goopy will occasionally stretch out his hand to knock some sense into your cup, but you can easily dodge it and punish him for trying to touch you with his hand. After you kill the ball, he doesn't die. Well, basically he does, but technically he doesn't, as he lives on from beyond the model plane and troubles you to destroy his tombstone before you can move on.
दोस्ताना डड्डू.
These two are either brothers or a gay couple, and I'm more inclined towards calling them the latter, as later on in the level, either Ribby or Cloak is shaking for the other one to literally come in their mouth so that they can become a cash dispensing machine that shoots out platforms which can be platformed over with a slight bit of finessing. But to get to that stage, you must endure the duo as they throw different challenges at you, like their dinner, or pieces of domestic violence, or disco lights from their fabulous gay crib.
शोलाया उड़न खटोला.
Cuphead never ceases to amaze you, and when you enter this boss fight, you're not only greeted with the sweet sight of Cuphead, but you are met with the view of Cuphead's new plane. Wow, either getting a license to fly a plane is really easy, or there's a special reason why he's called Cuphead. Moving on to the boss, you immediately notice Hildeberg, as she seems to have a BDSM fetish when she laughs out loud while you're actively trying to shoot her. She also feels meaner than the other bosses, as the shade she throws at you makes you think whether she is still in 8th grade or never really grew after hitting the phallic stage. Hildy seems to be a basic bitch, as she describes her mood according to star signs. OMG, she is such a Cancer. She transforms into many different star signs depending on whether she's horny, or hornifying. Giving her a reality check will result in her getting a minor stroke and she'll transform into a mechanical monstrosity who will shout stars at you and will summon spaceships to beam you up to Hilda hell. You will need more concentration to dodge the spaceships and the stars than you need to imagine your college crush while masturbating in the morning, but after you successfully knock her out, you will be happier than a 2-year-old on her mama's titty.
फुलबरी मान.
This fight is what I like to call the deflowering bout because it is the first fight that takes more than just a bunch of minor efforts to overcome. You'll, for the first time in the game, look for visual cues much more closely than you did to measure your own penis size. This boss is the one that will decide if you will play the game anymore or not. It will decide if you have the cojones of an alpha or the shriveled up grapes of an underdeveloped 25-year-old beta. Most of the fight revolves around you finger banging the sunflower while he throws his sperm at you from the top of the screen and somehow conjures acorns or whatever this is from beneath the palms of his sweaty hands. When he gets tired of throwing his face at you, he'll turn into a meaner sunflower and he'll cover the ground with his thorny roots that I can only pray to not be any form of genitalia, although they behave like one by extending and contracting and by seeking heat signatures. After collecting his soul, he'll turn into a husk and you'll be well on your way, guilt-free.
or Eason.
Before we move any deeper, I must confess something. If you don't use the spread, which is the weapon that fires like a piss stream after a long day of being a lockdown, and the charge, which is the weapon that fires like a fart after a long day of Indian food, you're an idiot and need to change your ways if you dream of finishing this game. So drop by the local weapons dealer and give him all your hard-earned money. Also remember to buy the smoke bomb, which is the only good charm as the rest of them can do the job a nutless monkey could do in his sleep.
Leave ki bata Jimmy.
The Baroness has many minions on her payroll that she sends out, but I'm not sure if they are meant to kill you or give you type 2 diabetes. Lord Gulpacker is basically two balls of unequal sizes. He chases you like an old man under the effects of a certain blue pill and eventually disintegrates into nothing, also like an old man but after the effects of a certain blue pill. Colonel Von Pop just roams around till you put him out of his misery. Musky Charinkov jumps around till you put him out of his misery. Sergeant Gumbo Gumbo shoots his balls and runs around till you put him out of his misery. And Sir Buffington 3 throws his body around till you put him out of his misery. After defeating 3 of these mini-bosses and receiving threats from getting fisted by the Baroness herself, you will then proceed to the toughest stage of the fight. You have to avoid getting hit by a large rolling candy thingy and the Baroness's head, which moves at a pace that is undiscernible to any human that has ever laid foot on God's green earth. Your best bet is to jump around like a rabid rabbit and bring the local priest to help you stay in your faith after you question the people who designed this game.
Lalu carpet wala.
This genie is going to be a long one for a lot of you. He starts off by throwing random shit at you from his failed garage sale, and so avoiding his junk is entirely too easy. After doing enough damage, Jimmy will decide to become a number of recurring pillars with saw blades between them. Avoiding them is easy, as all you have to do is stay shrunken while shooting your stuff, so you shouldn't have a problem with that. I'm clueless about the next phase as Jimmy becomes some alien creature and sends out ghost mummies and pocket-sized satans at you. Drugs were definitely involved in the making of this game. Making him close his sarcophagus will result in him summoning a Cuphead of his own along with a green topi. Both of these can be avoided by a 3-year-old in his or her sleep. Where this fight turns into a massive pain is the last stage, which is when you have to take into account 3 pyramids that can launch a laser beam at any point, a translucent ray sent out by Jimmy the Great himself, and your impulse to punch the monitor after losing the fight for the 10th time. The only way to win this one is the good old way of getting good.
Joker ki thokar.
This clown is not joking around as he starts off by trying to run you over with his car, but the time he takes to telegraph his attack, you can do the following. Finish your bachelor's degree, finish your master's degree, get married, lose your virginity, and still have time to dodge his stupid attack. The next stage is where things start to heat up as he unleashes his army of dog balloons for biting you in the ass for not taking him seriously in stage 1. And if that wasn't enough, he also sends in a roller coaster to remind you that he is not playing around. Dodging is not an option here, as your best bet is to pop these balloons like they're hot and ride the roller coaster like it's the last time you're gonna see her. After failing to kill you with his bodily gases, Beppy will throw horseshoes at you at the speed of a Super Saiyan. All you have to do is try your best to resist the urge to jump and shoot the clown right up in the face, unless the horseshoe will take you right in that sweet mug of yours. Pun intended. The last phase of the boss is again a difficult one, as you have to take care of a million things at once. Deppy as the ride, penguins as the throwers, baseballs as the throwees, the roller coaster as a cameo, and your sanity as your sanity. Your best bet is to slap yourself every time you lose as hard as you can so that you try your best to stay concentrated in fear of losing a tooth. People perform very well under pressure.
Nadan Parinde.
The fight starts off with you harassing Wally just outside his house, which results in him throwing all his unborn children at you like a crazed maniac. This results in the involvement of Wally's neighbors in the dispute, who for some odd reason try to nail you. Maybe it's a cultural thing. After losing all his feathers in a fit of rage that can be easily avoided if you've ever played any bullet hell ever, and destroying his own house, therefore making his only son homeless, Wally decides to slip away from the scene, leaving the protection of his turf in more capable hands. Wally Jr. doesn't do much at all, but he spins around and pushes out his own bare legs. Getting rid of him is only a matter of patience and hate for the local wildlife. Wally returns to the scene directly from the hospital after he very heroically beat up his young son, and with his last breath tries to get rid of you. Keep an eye out for the pills and bullets from Wally's own heart, and you should be invited to the feast of Wally's corpse pretty soon as the preparations immediately begin after the knockout.
Bagula.
This is it. If you've ever heard of Cuphead, then you've seen this boss. It's the one with the telepathic dragon who listens to Jealous by Nick Jonas, as all his attacks seem to be ripped straight from the sun. He turns his cheek, music up, and he puffs up his chest. After you die for the 50th time, he'll call you obsessed. It's not his fault that the clouds hover. He means no disrespect. It's his right to be hellish, but he still gets jealous. Then he sends out everybody for a taste test, and these taste testers are the worst, as they will jump at you with visual and audio cues smaller than an Asian sweatshop. You'll have to find a small asshole that has a special devilish smile on his face which says, "Give me the pussy balls," and keep the holes in your body open to listen to the anime girl voice that this guy has. This phase takes a lot of villain focus, and your best bet here is to switch back to the pea shooter. The final phase makes you unlearn everything you've learned in the game so far. The dragon shoots out bubbles full of fire, and if you hit them, they do sexy splits, so you have to carefully aim your shots and shoot precisely when you're absolutely sure that the shot will land right in one of the dragon's faces and not on a bubble. The fight is made even more difficult when you realize that you have to continuously move to the right while shooting to the left. These people had a special hate for the human race when they made this game.
शहद की रानी.
If beating up regular citizens for the state wasn't enough, Cuphead now resorts to beating up the law. Once you enter the honeycomb, you see sweet Honeybottoms call her trusty policeman to her aid and asks him to get rid of you. And all I can say is that this guy does not deserve whatever he's getting paid. In fact, Honeybottoms should save up that money and get some of the infrastructure in the comb to a better level, because honestly, this place is haphazard as hell. No wonder random bees throw away their suitcases at random intervals of time. After dispatching the police officer, you get to face the queen bee. Both her triangle and circle attack are easily dodgeable, but the bullet she throws at you by chewing up yesterday's incompetent bees that were unable to inseminate her will leave you more confused than a teenage girl on her period who's deciding what to have for lunch. After dodging the triangles, bullets, and balls, you'll see what is the correct representation of an identity change. Honeybottoms actually identifies as an airplane, and so she becomes one with the power of this magic notebook, which probably has her feelings written in it. This phase seems much more unfair because the health pool allotted to it will take you much more time to chip down than it took to realize how your PP works. Her attacks in this phase include lunge like Wolverine and punch like Rocky. Fingering her enough will result in her being disassembled like a Chinese toy on the second day of Christmas.
नालायक ससुरा.
This boss has no business being this late in the game. He should have been in aisle 1. No, he should have been the tutorial. Captain Briny Beard is so lazy that out of all the myriad attacks that the stage has, only one is directly done by him, and that too is the squeezing of a pink creature which sends out its solidified spit. Even the barrel hanging from the top isn't enough to make this level challenging because it never really hits you. Among his many friends that help him live out his pirate fantasy are Scar the Shark, who can never touch you as long as you have a single brain cell, Octopus Owen, who is not even able to damage you, and Ski Dog Squad, who are as easy to dodge as responsibilities. The final phase begins with a mutiny as the ship decides to gain sentience and throw the useless captain overboard. Parrying its lasers and bubbles filled with bile should be easy enough for anyone with a reasonable amount of motor functions.
मेरे सपनों की रानी.
Welcome to the boss that made this game into a Rule 34 wet dream. Kala Maria is a suggestive fight at best because two of her major attacks seem to be squeezing slimy creatures that send out questionable stuff towards you. She is also capable of sending out ghosts from inside her stomach who I presume she swallowed. You're also required to navigate through a bullet hell section which is made up of blowfish. And here I thought Kala Maria was the blowfish. In the second phase, Maria will take the form of Medusa as eels bite on her love handles and make her meaner than Regina George. In this phase, she will be able to turn the rest of your body to stone as well with petrifying green beams of petrification, all while dancing snakes try to shoot your plane down. Shake your body vigorously when you turn to stone and also when she petrifies you, and then get sweet revenge on the mermaid by shooting her full of lead. Doing this should result in her body being turned into a statue, and then the fight continues in a dark vagina-like cave. You'll have to take care of her one last time as she freezes you inside her cave and sets traps for you to deal with. In all, getting out of this fight results in feeling like getting out of an abusive relationship, which sucks all your happiness, money, and life.
क्रिश 4 का विलन.
Welcome to hell! For most of you, this is going to be the one that you remember. This is going to be the one that will give you nightmares. Dr. Call is a dick and his robot is a bigger dick. This fight is borderline insane with the amount of projectiles to dodge and cues to follow being in a number that can only be counted in exponents. Destroying the robot is only the initial phase of the level and is difficult on its own, and by the time you do it, you'll be thinking that the stage is done. But no! Sonny, you're in for the wrong ride. Avoiding a giant laser while rockets are following you after bombs are done chasing you, all the while dodging hands, blobs from hands, laser wall-making machines, nuts and bolts, and a ginormous magnet before trying to hopelessly destroy a mechanical heart is not only difficult on paper, but almost as impossible as losing your virginity in real life. And so all you can do is cry like a madman every time you lose to release your pent-up rage instead of hurting the poor machine that runs this game. After you finally destroy the robot, Dr. Carl decides to shoot out with its head and rush to and from one end of the screen to the other before releasing the toughest bullet hell storm that you'll ever witness in anything. If you ever manage to defeat this boss, then you'll know what it means to feel accomplishment, and you'll finally have something to be happy about.
Majdoori Babu.
Warner likes to do it himself, as all his weapons seem to be DIY inspired. From a tank made from a can, a spring and a can, to a cat made from, well, a cat. I believe this guy likes to build things himself, and so destroying all his life's work gives you a maniacal people much more satisfaction than defeating any other boss in the game. It almost feels like destroying a little child's sandcastle. All of his attacks in phase 1, including the one in which he hurls his junk at you, are easily dodgeable, and even the second phase is a cheesecake walk as long as you remember to go up and down at the right time. Side note, this is also great advice for sex. The final phase of the boss begins when a cat eats Werner and tries to reenact classic episodes of Tom and Jerry with you. Also appearing in this fight are two absolutely harmless ghost mice that can be easily ignored, like the feeling of impending doom caused by your paper on engineering maths at 10 in the morning. Defeating the cat reveals that Werner was reverse M. Night Shyamalaning us all this time, as he was not really dead at all.
Katili Nachaniya.
Talk about a self-centered bitch, and Sally's stage play immediately pops to mind. All the other bosses in Cuphead are concentrated on fighting Cuphead and not ranting on about themselves, but not Sally's stage play. She delivers a full-length feature about her boring life as she tries to do some amount of damage. The level begins with us barging in on her marriage with a man who is of the type that has to resort to cuckolding for any sexual satisfaction, and I'm pretty sure that's why the baby in the second phase is of so aggressive nature. In the baby phase, rats follow you, and your best bet is to dodge Sally, the bottles, and the rats by finding the right gap, just like the one between her and her husband. The third phase sees Fally gain a god syndrome, as most women do, and strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy her idea of a perfect life. The last phase seems to be her thanking the people coming out to her play, but in reality it's just a last-ditch, less than mediocre, pitiful effort to damage Cuphead, which is never really successful. Getting over this stage doesn't really take anyone more than a couple of tries.
Khate mast.
This spooky boss contains 4 phases with a different asshole or assholes in every phase. Blind Spectre, who sounds like the Jared Leto Joker, T-Bone, who is not a rapper, the Blaze Brothers, who don't blaze it, and the head of the train. The eyeball-throwing Blind Spectre is the first boss and is not really that big a deal. Punish Jared Leto enough times and he'll run over to call T-Boner, who is much more of a pain in the ass. He'll slam the ground like he's about to get up before realizing that he doesn't have a lower half, and that's why his ex left him. Killing him will get you to the Blaze Brothers, and they are really just trying to intimidate you, as they can't lay a single hit on you as long as you're on the other edge of the screen. Now this is easier said than done because of the pink ghost skulls hiding under their piss blankets. Finally, after satisfying all the ghosts, you get to go toe-to-toe with the engine, and he's a tough boy. He'll raid down every agony, every violation imaginable upon you, but all that can be dodged with a bit of focus by Ariana Grande.
Ye hai Kunsar.
King Dice is to the devil what Sam is to Frodo, and so that analogy should ideally make you Sauron. But in this version of the story, Sauron dies a lot of times. King Dice lets you play a whole lot of mini-bosses before he even begins to attack you, so get ready because we're gonna do the same.
Yakkad sale.
Alcoholism is bad, kids.
You edi sala.
Easier than your ma.
Nashedi sala.
If Kamlesh was rich, he could have lived.
Kortana mardana.
Being inclusive is cool.
Ganjedi sala.
Cuphead plus rabbits confirmed! Animals were harmed in the making of this boss.
Very bitiya.
Bald for days.
Ramu kaka.
Easier than a grandma.
Satya pe satta.
Dementia medicine not included. After you defeat all or some of them, and depending on your parrying capabilities, you will fight King Dice's hands. Wow, talk about some talking up, huh? Well, all you have to do now is to parry a bunch of possessed cards and finger King Dice enough, and you'll be well on your way to fight the Big Daddy.
Bakri master.
The devil is not really that scary because all he does is sit comfortably in his chair and scan the floor continuously for God knows what. His love of animals becomes very clear as he transforms into a number of animals and insects. When you have seduced him enough, he'll jump out of his suit and run completely naked into hell. There, he'll throw axes and flying bombs at you like a primitive humanoid. Making him choke will summon his minions that I have no idea how to define. The best way to describe them is to say that they are a mix between a cow, a goat, a bat, and Mickey Mouse. Finally, dealing enough damage will make the devil finally cry like a little boy who just found out that Santa is not real, and the game for the nth time lets you be an asshole and beat up on a person who is crying and already lost. Way to go, game.
Shalom, Abijao.
If you followed along till now, then I'm pretty sure you know how Cuphead bosses work, and you can defeat them now. If not, go watch the video a second time. I'm pretty sure you'll get to know what to do and how to do it in a better way. Having said that, I'll be taking my leave now, and I'll see you in the next one.